We are chatting today about really how to recognize when people can't handle your shine. Like, I think this is a really important topic, especially for Black women. But for everybody, but especially for Black women, is that some people just can't handle your shine. They can't handle your extraordinary. They can't handle when you are doing really well, and how that can show up, and starting to recognize when people are really not actually supporting you. So, yes. So let me introduce myself. My name is Kristen Iris Johnson. I am a film producer, a writer, and a pleasure activist. And what I do is I help Black writers and creatives learn how to use pleasure and other liberatory practices to amplify their creative work and make a bigger impact with whatever their work is. So in this live, I want to talk about really the truth here is that not everybody is actually on your side. And sometimes even like your closest people, they can't handle your shine. Like, not everybody can go with you where you're going. So I have a fabulous and not fun history of dating guys who can't handle my shine. Like, dating guys who are just like really content to be mediocre. Or even if they're not, even if they do have goals, it's like when they see me succeeding and they feel like they're inadequate or like they can't keep up with their own success, is like how that ends up, I end up being collateral damage. So there can be a lot of different people in your life that may not support you, may not be able to handle your shine or your extraordinary or what you're doing. But the way that this, in particular with intimate relationships, the way that impacts you can be bigger in a lot of ways, especially if it's someone like that you're in a relationship with, or even a marriage with, or that you live in the same house with, like someone that you're spending a lot of time with. Those relationships can really have a big impact, either in elevating you and encouraging you and bringing you up, or in holding you back. And it can look like different things when someone can't actually handle your shine. Now, the first thing I want to say about this is, like, when someone can't handle your extraordinary, it's not about you. That's about them. And we can start to internalize that as we're doing something wrong, or I am wrong, or I am bad, or I'm failing, or something is wrong with you, based on how that person is treating you because they can't handle your extraordinary. For example, this can show up in different ways. I'm just gonna kind of these are examples that I have off the top of my head and just kind of from my own experiences and what I've seen with other people, but I'm sure there are plenty of others. And again, these can apply to non-intimate relationships, but I feel like it does in particular apply to intimate relationships. So on the kind of more extreme noticeable end is someone like really just talking shit to you, like making you feel bad, being like, you can't do this. What are you talking about? Like, really, like when you've got an opportunity, or you've made an accomplishment, or you've done something that you're really proud of, or even you're like, I'm really serious about this and I'm going for it, is that person like really talking down to you, being like, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? What are you talking about? Or laughing at you, or laughing at your aspirations, laughing at like you getting an opportunity. Those things, that's like the more extreme end of like very, very obvious lack of support. And like whatever the opposite of support is, that's on that side of the spectrum. Another way is like, that's a bit less intense, is like sowing doubt. So it's like this, are you sure you're ready for that? Like, I don't know, like, I'm not sure if you've learned enough. I'm not sure if you've got the skill. Like, those things where like they're not totally talking shit to you, but they're letting you know that they think that you're not ready, so that they can get in your head and make you feel like you're not ready, right? And then that's going to pull you back. That fear, that doubt that is now going into you is going to pull you back from actually taking action. Another way, and this is one that I've had a lot of experience with an ex non-boyfriend, this guy that I was dating several years ago, is just like flat out ignoring what you're doing, like just a complete lack of interest. And that was something that I experienced, and it was it was very challenging because it's like, you're this very important person in my life and you don't actually seem to give a shit about anything that I'm doing. You don't give a shit about when I do something that's really great. You don't give a shit about me struggling or being challenged to accomplish something. Like, you're not trying to encourage me. You're not, like, that's what happens when there's an apathy. That's what it is. It's an apathy. Is that not only are they not encouraging you when you need it, because maybe you're feeling doubt or you're struggling or something's really challenging, and you need those people around you that will be like, hey, you got this. You got this. You got to believe in yourself. Keep going. Or when you do something that you're like, oh man, like I did this, or like I got this job, or I made this accomplishment or something, or I finished this script or this book, that they're just like, and then like keep watching TV or something. And so that's another way that it can show up, is like that apathy. And then I think on kind of like so we're kind of going from like more extreme and more obvious to like more subtle. One of the other ways, and this one can be a little tricky, like you really got to gauge your relationship, is the like, but you're not spending enough time with me, and you're like the gaslighting you into thinking that you're like failing the relationship somehow. Now, I don't know what's going on in a relationship. Like, that might actually be like a legitimate, it might be a legitimate concern that they're bringing up, is like, hey, we're, like there's an issue here in our relationship, but that's different than like, oh, like this is going to pull you away and you're not showing up and etc. It's like, there's a different way that you can approach that, as like, hey, I'm seeing how this is impacting us, and I think we can make a shift so that both can happen. That's them being supportive. The like, hey, like, I don't want you to do this thing because it's gonna, like it's pulling you away from me. That's like not only not supportive, it doesn't actually solve the problem of whatever's going on in the relationship, and it gaslights you. Now, I've also experienced that with a different ex of mine. And that one was, it was actually when I was testing for black belt, or I was getting ready to test for black belt. And the guy that I was with, he was like, not supportive. It was kind of weird. It's like he was sort of supportive, but then he was like, I'm like, are you having an issue with me like training? Like he was like, well, I don't want you to train on these days because like, you're not hanging out with me. And I'm like, what? Like, it was so weird. But that was one of the things that came up, was like, he started having a problem with me training, which like I had been training for years, and now you suddenly have a problem. He had a problem with me training. He had a problem with me, hanging out with the people that I was hanging out, which were like my martial arts friends that I had been hanging out with for years. And they were also the ones who were like encouraging me and training with me and helping me. And he was like, well, like you're not spending enough time with me. And really the problem was that he didn't actually want to show up fully in the relationship. And because I had these other relationships and these other things, and I was about to like achieve this like, next level for myself, that he wanted to pull me back. It was like, no, but I want to keep this mediocre. And like, I don't do mediocre. So that was one of the ways that was showing up in a past relationship. So these are kind of different ways that it can show up for you. And again, none of these things are about you. They're all about how that person is responding to seeing you accomplish, seeing you strive, seeing your ambition. And I think as in particular for women, ambitious Black women that are in particular with men, because there's all kinds of different relationships, but I think in particular with men, this is a challenge that I see a lot of Black women coming up against, and my friends, where they're just like, this dude just like as soon as I start like making more money or doing this thing, like now it's a sudden problem, but it wasn't a problem before. And there's not an element of like, hey, this is causing a shift in our relationship, let's talk about it. It's like, oh no, you're doing something wrong because you're accomplishing. And then that's affecting us over here. So it's a lot of like sometimes subtle things, like the way that they approach you might be a subtle way of like making you feel bad and making you feel doubt, making you feel like what you're doing isn't important, or making you feel like you're somehow failing them or failing the relationship when you're just trying to continue accomplishing what you're doing. Now, sometimes the things that we're doing do take over our lives and our relationships do fall to the wayside, in which case that's something that you have to handle, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when people actually just can't handle your extraordinary. And the truth is that as you start going to your next level, your next level, your next level, and you start really stepping into your power, stepping into like, oh, I can do this, stepping into I am worthy of this, stepping into I deserve the things that I want, stepping into I can really make a difference or I can make an impact. The more you step into that, there are going to be people around you who are like, I can't match that. Like, I can't match that energy. I can't match that level. And it stirs up their own feelings of inadequacy or their own insecurity or their own feeling of like, but I'm losing this person because they're elevating so much higher than me. Some people are like, yeah, keep going, rock on, you know, like they're cheering you on. And those are the people that you want to have in your life. And some people just, they like their own, your extraordinary starts to stir up their own issues and then they take it out on you. And you have to learn how to recognize that and start moving those people out. Because let me tell you, I am in a massive glow up right now. And there are people around me that are in a massive glow up. I am talking like big opportunities, just crazy stuff happening, like crazy good stuff happening, literal dreams coming true. And the reason that we are able to do that is because we have put the right people around us that are supportive, that are encouraging, that are putting us on, and we're putting other people on. We're not sitting here dealing with people that are like in our ear talking all that yin-yang about how we can't do it or we're like not good enough or this isn't important so I'm just gonna ignore it, etc., etc. We got rid of those people. And when you get rid of those people, there's so much that opens up in your life. And that's what I really want you to understand. There's so much that opens up in your life. So I hope this was helpful for you, just understanding and thinking about the outer things in your life that will shift the way you're able to do your creative work, the way you're able to pursue opportunities, and the way you're able to really use your voice and make an impact. Because those people that are trying, that can't handle your shine and that are trying to like dim it down, they're gonna impact the way that you do your creative work. They impact your writing. They impact the way you show up. They impact what you're able to say. And you have to clear that shit out so that you can really step into your creative power and move yourself to whatever your next level is, whatever your next dream is, whatever your next opportunity is, and create those opportunities. So hope this was helpful for you. I have 4 Black creatives. I'm going to put it here in the comments, or maybe I'm not because it won't paste. Anyways, I have a free workshop for Black creatives called Step Into Your Black Creative Power. And you can get it at the link in my bio or go to KristenIris.com/PowerWS. And this workshop is all about dealing with and understanding that not enoughness story, which for a lot of us has to do with around our Blackness and being told you're not Black enough or et cetera, which I call the Oreo complex. But there's other ways that we have not enough stories or not enoughness stories. So that workshop is going to help you to understand better that not enoughness story and what to do about it so that you can clear that out. Stop letting it diminish you and you can step into your Black creative power. So again, you can go to KristenIris.com/PowerWS or click the link in my bio. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure that you follow and turn notifications on so you can know when I go live. And I will see you guys in the next live stream.